Long after the great interplanetary wars, the galaxy has gone dry. Water has become the only thing left of value. Evil Templars from the planet Mithra have gained control of this life-giving resource. Their power is now absolute, except for a few rebel pirates who survive by stealing ice from the great Templar fleets.
You're so good. Welcome to
Okay, but listen.
a review podcast.
I'm Kaitlyn.
And I'm Juliana.
And welcome to our episode about Ice Pirate.
It's a hard turn from Honey Boy.
Yeah, if you listen to our Honey Boy episodes, welcome to some aftercare. This is the soft blanket episode. Mm-hmm. I had seen this movie before. Mm-hmm. Many times. Mm-hmm. It's one of my dad's favorites, but it's also one of my mom's favorites.
Oh, interesting.
Although, I think favorite is a strong word. She said it was on cable all the time, so she watched it a lot because it was on cable a lot. Ice Pirates, 1984.
Yes.
The plot of this movie is there's no water in the galaxy. The Templars have taken over. We start with a band of pirates doing a raid on a Templar ship trying to steal the ice from the ship. The captain, Jason, kidnaps a princess, is unsuccessful at kidnapping the princess, but then that kind of kicks off the plot of the movie.
Is captured.
Yeah, he gets kidnapped by her, and then she uses him to help her find her father, who
then is living on the seventh planet.
The seventh world, the fabled lost planet of water. And then, spoiler alert, it turns out that the seventh world is Earth.
Yeah, once they started talking about it, I was like, wait, is that Earth? And then we saw it and I was like, yep, it's Earth.
The, lore, the Great War that made the galaxy go dry is there was, 8 planets that all got destroyed, except for the 7th planet that
got knocked out of orbit.
Yeah, got knocked out of orbit. And that's why it's through, the time warp.
Oh, I had opinions on that time warp, but we can get to it.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's start with hot takes. What do you feel at the top?
My note for this movie was what? It's a fun movie. Sometimes, you watch a movie and you're like, oh, that's where all those cultural references come from. Mm-hmm. This had a lot of those, but more things that people in my friend group say, where I'm like, oh, this is where that came from. I wish I had watched it in a large group of people. I think it would have been way more fun than watching it by myself.
Yeah.
This is a movie I wanted to see with people and talk about loudly.
Going down the checklist of what makes a cult movie, this has a lot of the check marks.
Yeah.
It just kind of falls a little short, and a lot of that is this was kind of a cursed movie to make.
Oh.
And so I can kind of go into that or do you want to keep doing hot takes?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out, I didn't look anything up. I was trying to figure out where this fit in the sci-fi movie world. What movies had come out before it? Was this the everything needs to be set in space now because Star Wars has come out? Was this on the heels of something? I was just trying to figure it out.
I would say kind of this movie. So in the 80s, late 70s, 80s was the big sci-fi boom.
Yeah.
Because, Star Wars came out oh no, I'm going to get my nerd card taken. 74.
I'm shrugging. That sounds great. Yeah.
But Star Wars had come out, and then, we got a lot of, space movies, but we also were getting, just a lot of sci-fi in general. So what also came out around this time, we had Star Wars clearly, but then we had Mad Max, Logan's Run, Rollerball, I think Rollerblade.
Oh!
That awful one we saw for VH Crest.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of my favorite movies that I have a big soft spot for are this kind of genre and this kind of vibe from this time period. I really love a stupid, goofy, kind of grody sci-fi movie that doesn't make any sense and is silly. I'm such a sucker for production design for this kind of sci-fi movie. The filming locations for this movie is the Bethlehem Steel Plant in Vernon, California, and then an Anheuser-Busch brewery in Van Nuys.
Oh,
Like in LA?
Not the one here.
No. You can clearly see it's like a brewery. It's clearly just some warehouse they have. And they dressed it up with just like blinky lights and some like panels and some big buttons that you push.
I do love movies from this era where like technology is just a bunch of flashing lights.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, sure.
I just always think of Galaxy Quest where he's like, our set was some cardboard sets and Christmas lights.
Yeah. Like a lot of
the vibe.
I do love the one guy. Something about like, oh, ask the guy with the computer. And then it pans to this guy and there's like a part of a calculator stuck to the side of a thing and he's like tapping on it and then he looks at some screen that you can't see. And I was like, what is happening?
So fucking
But like
funny.
it seems like they knew because they poked fun at themselves when they're in like the shootout and it's Pong.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh my,
or no,
yeah,
it's the alien invasion game.
Yeah, Space Invaders.
Space Invaders.
Yeah. Well, and then
that
the
was
fun
so
fact,
funny.
too, is there are, like, so many references to other sci-fi in it, which I love. To side tangent, the thing about this movie that I find the most interesting is, like, it sticks in my brain, but the characters, I feel like, don't matter because it's impossible to remember any of their names don't fucking matter.
The only name
like,
I remember is Killjoy. Because I liked him.
Killjoy makes this fucking movie. I wish he was in more of it. So
Killjoy and What's-Her-Face getting together at the end, I was like, yeah.
Do you want to hear something really funny about Killjoy?
Yeah.
Do you know his, like, one other notable film credit? Mm-mm. Fucking Sloth in The Goonies.
Oh my god! I was gonna guess that! I'm sorry.
Yeah!
Ah!
Hey, you guys! You guys! And he was a football player. And so the reason
he has the build.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he's huge.
He kind of got cast because
it was when he
the
way he picked
him.
up What's-Her-Face from Addams Family.
Oh, Angelica Houston?
Yeah, the way he picked her up, I had a moment of sloth. That's so funny.
As always, this episode is sponsored by Safeway brand peach rings.
As always.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. Peek behind the curtain. We are always eating peach rings.
Always. Let's talk about cast. Killjoy is played by John Matusak, but he got cast because one of the producers really liked him and was like, you should put him in this movie. You have Angelica Houston as Maida.
Didn't even know that was her name.
I know. I had the subtitles on and like IMDb up, so I was like, okay, I need to know who is who. This is her first like quote unquote real role where she's actually part of the main cast, because she had been a lot of background or like not even tertiary, but like 4 levels removed from the main. She was in This Is Spinal Tap, which came out the next year, but she's not like a big part.
Oh.
But yeah, this was like one of her first real roles. She was a friend of the producer, John Foreman, so that's kind of how she got her in.
Okay.
So the main guy is Robert Urich. So this movie was produced by MGM. They already had him on contract for a TV show, so they were like, well, he's on our contract, let's put him in this. Because we're producing it, we need a guy. He's already contracted with us.
They're like trying to save money.
Yeah, they kind of like tried to cast a few other people. I feel like Kevin Costner was on the list at some point, but that could be wrong. That seems wrong. There are maybe 3 actors in the cast that were and went on to be movie stars. The interesting thing to me is a lot of this cast was TV actors. At the time, Robert Urich's big thing is he was on, I can't remember the TV show, but he was like a big TV guy.
Okay.
Then you have Mary Crosby as Princess Karina. She was doing a lot of TV, but it was like 3 episodes here, 1 episode here. She was on like an episode of The Love Boat. She did a lot of TV movies.
Okay.
She's so pretty though. She has like such a interesting mouth. I don't know if that's
she does mouth acting.
Yeah, well, no, I don't. Not mouth acting, but she has like puffy, kissy Princess Peach lips, kind of, where like her mouth doesn't always close all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Then you've got Michael D. Roberts as Roscoe, the like kind of second in command. I
like Roscoe.
First mate, yeah. Roscoe's great.
Roscoe's great, and he was the only other name I picked up on.
Yeah, he's like, I don't love Jason, but
No.
I really like Roscoe. He's
Same.
the one who like works on the robots. He's the one who like actually has plans. He like kind of tries to keep Jason in line a little bit.
A little bit. I cared more about Roscoe than I did about Jason.
Oh yeah, he also did like mostly TV. The only 3 characters I care about in this film, and I ship them as a throuple, are Killjoy, Maida, and fucking Zeno, Ron Perlman's character.
The head?
No, Ron Perlman with the like headband and the little earring, and he's the chef.
Oh yeah, we see him for like 5 minutes total. Kaitlyn.
So I realized looking in your eyes that I say Ron Perlman in a tone of voice, and you have no idea who that is.
I have no clue.
Oh my god, hang on.
I don't know
Hold
people.
my life, but you fucking do. Pause for Kaitlyn, frantically zooming through.
I love how, like, you'll know him. You'll know him.
And it's so hard because you don't fucking watch anything. I'm like, oh yeah, Alien Resurrection. No. Fucking City of Lost Children.
No.
Definitely not. Fucking. Have you seen Titan AE?
No.
I'm getting angrier.
I feel like this validates my point of no, I don't know who this is, and you'd be like, no, you do, I swear.
I'm so mad. He's in Hellboy.
I saw Hellboy in middle school.
Yeah, he's Hellboy in Hellboy.
Great.
Jesus Christ. We have to end this podcast.
It makes me so mad.
I'm so angry right now.
Oh my god.
He has so many fucking acting credits, and you've maybe possibly seen like 2 of them. So mad right now. I'm so mad.
I told you.
No, it's so stupid. It's so stupid how you've never seen, like, we get along so well, and we have such like kind of similar tastes, but then it veers wildly apart, and it's so funny because like
we
in
do
my
have
head,
a crazy Venn diagram.
in my head I'm like, yeah, of course Juliana's seen this, and then I say something just offhanded and you look at me like I'm speaking a different fucking language.
Like, no.
Anyway, for those listening, for those who know anything, Ron Perlman is one of my favorite fucking guys. I really hope he doesn't or has not done anything problematic. But anyway, this was his second film role ever. His first one was fucking Quest for Fire.
Ooh.
Where he plays a caveman.
Okay.
It's about cavemen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna be a way cooler plot.
And then he was like 34 at the time, so he was like baby. But yeah, no, the only ones I care about, I love Maida, Angelica Houston. Her costuming in this movie is so fucking good.
So good. So of its time.
Well, and it's interesting because the
I love her hair in it.
The costuming was done by this guy, Daniel Paredes. Like, he didn't do a lot, but he was known for, like, really kind of campy, interesting stuff. He was a homosexual.
Shocking.
And yeah, it reads. He died in 1993 of AIDS complications, which sucks. You can tell the costuming that got, like, actually designed for the film. And then you have the, like, Templars and the pirate costumes where they just went to, like, a spirit Halloween or something.
Yes. Like, what was up with the Templars being... The Templars were dressed as knights, and they fought with swords? Why?
Knights Templar, baby.
We're in space.
So?
I was like, one of those things where I'm like, why are we wearing chainmail? Like, was this meant to take place on Earth, and then they had to pivot hard when they got funding to make it space?
So, I love that, because that's the vibe. I talked about it in another episode, but that's, like, the vibe I get from Crawl, where it was, like, a really cool fantasy script that they were, like, add some space shit to.
Yes, okay, that's... Because I remembered you talking about a movie that did that, and I was like, is this that movie?
No. Crawl is much cooler. The robots in this movie are wild.
I could not figure out the robots. I wrote notes on the robots because I could not figure it out. I was like, are they sentient? Do we care that they have emotions? They seem really nervous. Why are we being mean to the robots that have emotions? Like, I had so many questions, but then on the other hand, they stop when they're told to stop, but they don't go when they're told to go, and I couldn't tell if that's, like, because they have bad programming, because they have cheap robots, or the robots have feelings and we just don't give a crap. Like,
I think it's a little of all of the above. The robots are they all do have personalities, which I love a robot with a personality. The only ones that actually kind of look like robots are the little, like, droids. They look like those Japanese robots in like, the fancy Japanese restaurants that, like, bring you stuff. And then the, like, battle robots, you can tell that they're so clearly, like, foam.
Yeah.
They're wrinkled. They move weird.
It's what I like to call man in a suit effects.
Yeah. It's like, very rubber suit robots.
That's a man in a suit. That's how I felt about a lot of those robot scenes. And they clearly could not see out.
Some parts they, like, try to move like robots, and then other parts it's clearly just, like, a dude.
A dude just trying to hit his mark on time who can't see a goddamn thing.
Probably can't hear through the, like, helmet that he's wearing.
It seems like there's a program to not attack humans because so often they can sneak in by marching with the robots.
This is true, yeah.
I don't know. I had a lot of, like, trying to figure them out moments where I was like, why are they like this?
I feel like the most robot-looking robot acting robot is the one, like, pimp robot.
Yeah.
Where Jason and the princess have, like, run off on their motorcycle and they left behind Roscoe and Killjoy. And they're like, wait. The pimp robot comes up and he's like, hey, Bloods, you want to see some kitty?
I loved Roscoe being like, no. No,
dude,
like, no, man. No.
Killjoy's like, it's been a long time.
I love how disappointed Roscoe is in that scene. But I also love that they give him the necklace that was stolen. I thought that was really funny.
Well, and I love that thing with the necklace because, again, like, I feel like Killjoy is the most fleshed out one of the most fleshed out characters.
Yeah.
Because they meet him in the cage, in the, like, castration plant. And they're like, what are you in for? He's like, oh, petty theft and grand larceny. And he gives them the necklace for the soup. But then it turns out that he stole the necklace from someone else that was in the cage. And then he does give it to Roscoe and then has it later to give to the robot.
Yeah.
He is so good at stealing.
That's his thing. I also love that he stole the robes off the monk to get out of the cage.
What's the quote? He's like, they don't castrate clergy just in case. What was your reaction to the castration bit?
It was one of those things where I'm like, I guess this is happening. Like, it just was so, like, what?
The vibe of this movie is that John Mulaney bit where it's like, things are already so weird, well, this might as well just happen.
Yeah, because it hit that point of, like, okay. And you see the clones when they first take over the big ship. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I didn't know it was a clone, if I'm being honest.
They're not clones. They're just prisoners that they've castrated.
And erased their memory.
Kinda, yeah.
But they say that they're gonna do that. They say they're gonna, like, lobotomize them.
Yeah.
So they're gonna castrate them and lobotomize them. At first, when you see them on the ship, I was like, what is this white leotard man doing with this bad wig? Like, it just so much of it. I was like, what is happening? And then you see a woman in it, and you're like, okay, I guess there's men and women who look like this. I don't get it. Is this like a race that I don't know about in this world? And then they're like, oh, we're taking you to this planet to castrate and lobotomize you. I was like, okay. And then you see that those are the white leotard people, and I was like, oh.
I love the conveyor belt where you have the employees in the jumpsuits. Like, they have the stations where they, like, cut their clothes off and then they shave them and, like, whatever. It feels very employee vibes where they're, like, shaving these dudes and they're, like, cutting their clothes off while they go to, like, be castrated. But they're like, oh, are you going to that thing later? Or, like, oh, are you doing anything after work? You want to go out? I love a silly chomp. They, like, get to the thing where it's gonna just, like, chomp their shit off. And he's like, ah!
And the princess saves him.
The princess is a weird character to me because really she just kind of feels like a MacGuffin.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Like,
the nanny had more stuff to her.
The whole point of Princess Karina is just to move the story forward and give us do this, then go to this place, then do that.
And be the love interest.
I was surprised that it kind of aged okay, but there were definitely a few moments where I was like,
Yeah.
The bit in the beginning where he, like, lifts up her dress and is, like, looking, and as they walk out, he just flippantly has that thing where he's like, whatever happened to we rape, we pillage?
Yeah.
I was like, oof! But then it, like, never really comes up again, where, like, I feel like the sex they do have is consensual. And it's so bad.
Yeah, the sex they have is consensual, but it's also, like, why?
Like, we needed to see, we don't even see titties, but we needed to, like, think about seeing titties. You just get, like,
hand on thigh, and then, like, angles, because they're all, like, thin, so it's all just, like...
Yeah.
Sorry, sometimes when it's, like, Hollywood sex scenes and everyone's just, like, so thin, and they're nothing but angles. Yeah.
It's like two stick bugs rubbing together.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, look at that angular chin touching that other angular chin. Look at all these angles. And it's like, nothing about it feels good to me, really, ever.
Yeah, it's...
But it also was one of those things where I'm like, I haven't felt any chemistry between you two, other than, like, I'm just supposed to know in this formula, you will have sex.
Straight up, she's the sexy lamp and she's the MacGuffin. Like, that's really her whole purpose, is, like, she's there to be pretty and to make sure that the characters actually do things.
Yes. Otherwise, Roscoe would go open his robot shop.
Yeah, she is the inciting incident for the story. Buckaroo Banzai kind of had the same thing where they had the sex scene, but they had such good chemistry.
Yeah.
Did you also scream when the Templar went to, like, the great leader Templar or whatever, and he's in one of those fucking hamster wheel back brace things?
Yes.
I was like, is this just what we think is in the future? Are these weird hamster wheel back brace things?
Okay, so I actually have kind of thoughts on that scene.
It's in such a pretty place, though. You can tell it's kind of like a nature preserve or something.
Well, exactly. In a world that has no water, why does he have a rainforest background? It proves that he has a lot of power, that he has real trees in his house, is my understanding.
Yeah.
Also, is that actor, like, what, is there any more on that actor?
Which one? The, like, old guy?
The old guy.
I have no idea.
Because he seemed like an actual old, like, very old man with real disabilities that I would be interested to know more about. Because he has the hands of somebody who has, like, had a stroke
got the hardcore, like,
or
arthritis, knuckles.
Something, yeah. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. I kind of want to know more about this guy and how he got in on this project.
Yeah. I did not have any, like, that scene always, like, kind of falls out of my head. Because it serves nothing.
That's
like,
funny. It served a lot to me.
It's the exposition dump, in my opinion, where it's like, no, I take it back. I take it back. Because it is an interesting scene.
It gives that character more depth that he's doing it for his dad.
And then you also kind of get the, like, she's escaped just as we planned.
Yeah, you get that they're about to be on their tail. You get confirmation that they think her dad is dead.
Yeah.
And that they already kind of know about the seventh planet.
Okay, I take back, I'm living and learning, and I'm listening and I'm learning, and I've changed my...
I also like that the dad, I thought this was interesting where he said he's lived eons, but he can still feel with this body. Mm-hmm. Not with my body, but with this body.
Oh.
And he said he had lived for eons. So either they're not human and they can live literally a long time, but it sounded like he was saying, like, transfer my consciousness.
This will be a good segue into the production, honestly, because I feel like there are so many things you get that are, like, hints at dropped storylines or stuff that got taken away.
Yes, it felt like Buckaroo Banzai in that regard, too, of, like, there are lots of threads here that didn't get followed or they tried to tie up. Little things like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you the first fact that is going to make you go, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So initially this budget had $20 million. The budget for this movie was $20 million. MGM was having really bad financial issues. So that budget got cut to $8 million.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
That tracks.
Just, like, not even in half, just, like, fully cut the fuck down. They went from $20 million to $8 million.
I bet if this, well, I don't know, it kind of fits the script, though.
Yeah.
To have that really low budget. I can't imagine this script being a $25 million budget.
So this script isn't the original script either.
That makes way more sense.
The theme of this episode is going to be Kaitlyn saying movies with a, like, surely you know this, and you giving me the blank stare. because it means nothing to you.
Correct.
Listeners, this better mean something to you, or I am walking into the fucking ocean like Godzilla at the end of every movie. This was originally written by Stanford Sherman, which, fun fact, his other notable writing credit is Krull.
Oh! Okay, that tracks.
Here's where it gets interesting, though. So the director is Stuart Raphael. He rewrote the script to be a comedy. MGM wanted it to be a comedy, so he came in and rewrote it heavily.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's painful.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, like, Krull is really good. I might make you watch Krull at some point, eventually, to make it make sense. Because, like, he wrote that. It's a serious movie. It's, like, the same vibe, but good.
The comedy bits felt pretty forced into me. It felt like someone went, make Jason a Han Solo type, one-line zinger kind of guy.
Yeah, his one-liners are so forced and hit or miss to the point where, like, maybe 1 out of 10 is kind of a chuckle.
Every single thing he does has a zinger. And, like, even when he's escaping and you can't really see him, but you know he's holding a tray of drinks, and he goes, have a drink!
Yeah.
I was like, what? And I'm like, oh, right, he's holding a tray of drinks.
I will say, my favorite one is at the beginning fight where one of the Templars cuts his toes off, and he just goes, hey, I just stole those!
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
And that's, like, a bit of world building there that I really enjoy, where, like, Roscoe gets his hand cut off. They grab it so that he can reattach it, but then when they meet up at the bar, they, like, pull his reattached hand off, and then a new one grows back, or he has a new one?
Yeah, that I couldn't figure out.
I have no idea.
If it was, like, really good fake prosthetics, or if they had, like, an ability to regrow things.
Who knows? We'll never know. Stuart Raphael. This is where you're not gonna understand anything. So,
Great.
Stuart Raphael's other notable works. So, The Philadelphia Experiment. Mannequin 2. Mac and Me.
Oh.
And then my favorite of his, Tammy and the T-Rex.
Cute.
You say cute. He built the entire story around, they just, like, where he was filming, they had this, like, giant T-Rex robot. And they were like, we're gonna get rid of this, but do you want to use it for something? So he made a movie about this guy dies and a mad scientist puts his brain in the T-Rex.
Not what I thought that movie was going to be about.
But it's like a T-Rex clone robot thing, and then it, like, goes to his girlfriend, and, like, they have to solve his murder.
What? Oh.
And then the T-Rex, and then there's, like, a really weird sex scene at the end.
I was going to ask
and,
if
like,
there was a...
It's a wild film. But so, you're getting that vibe coming in to rewrite the script for Ice Pirates. So that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, the fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really weird mashup of something that felt like it was meant to be serious and something that felt like it was just a series of scenes that were trying to be funny.
Yeah. I would love to see what the original script with the original budget would have been.
I'd like to see the original script, period.
Yeah.
I would be so interested to know what that is, because I bet it would help this make a lot more sense. Like, there are just some things where you're like, I'm pretty sure that was obvious lore if you had read something.
Yeah.
That, like, I just don't know as a viewer.
This movie was really hard to make because...
Shocking.
Their budget got slashed. The script was, like, almost completely rewritten. A lot of this was due to MGM getting a new studio head at the time. There was a lot happening.
I feel like there's always a lot happening over there.
MGM, get your shit together.
They said no. They said, how about we don't?
This movie has not good reviews. I actually found a really interesting review on it on, like, Red Letter Media. Those guys who we're basically doing their same thing. One of the guys made this really interesting point where he was talking about, like, because they're older, they were like kids in the 80s. And he was talking about how 80s kids refuse to let go of childhood media. Like, you don't see the boomers holding on to their shit and, like, remaking all of the same shit. I mean, we're stuck in the 80s. We've got, like, Stranger Things. We've got, like, all of this stuff happening that's, like, set in the 80s. We're bringing back all of these 80s properties. I feel like it ties into the cult status of this movie is, like, this kind of refusal to let things go. I mean this in a positive way with Buckaroo Banzai and with this and with fucking Kroll. Just a lot of these, like, cult classics. It comes from the thing of, like, I loved this as a kid. I remember really liking this. I'm going to show all of my friends this. And then, like, with the ones that become cult classics, it's because you have that person who's holding on to it and, like, refusing to let it slip out of the public consciousness. Or at least, like, refusing to let it die forever.
I mean, you can even argue that with Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror is, like, amazing. It is the cult
classic.
Right,
but it is also that thing of, like, the people have to hold on to it to educate the next generation about how to watch it and why it's important to watch it.
Which is funny because it's called the time warp that they go through in the spaceship in the movie. I don't know if it's related, but it was making me laugh every time where they're like, we're entering the time warp. And I'm like, and then I step to the right.
But you can't veer off course, Kaitlyn. Otherwise you'll be lost in time forever. Don't take that step to the right.
So I have a few quotes that I like. This article that I found that was, like, talking about Ice Pirates and how it's a cult classic, and, like, this guy talking about his nostalgia for it. And he calls it, quote, one of the great red-hot messes of 1980s American cinema.
Fully agree. I fully agree with that. I mean, something that I really liked about the movie is the 1 million sets. I feel like that's something we just don't really, like, get so much anymore in a practical effects way if it takes place in
all
space.
All of it is so great. All of it is done practically, except for the lasers. They've got 1 million sets. All of the sets feel completed.
Yeah, and they feel like little scenes of a place.
Yeah, when they're... I love the bar.
The bar was really fun.
It's so cool. The guy with, like, the bald parrot.
Yeah.
Why was he like that?
I don't know.
Why he like that?
I have so many questions about that man.
I will say up top, it's hard to find stuff about this movie, and it's hard to know if any of it is, like, true.
Yeah.
But this made me laugh so hard. So this is from the IMDb trivia section. Gene Roddenberry, creator of Star Trek, once jokingly said that the film was singularly responsible for bringing back the death penalty to California. Savage.
Oh my god.
This movie, it made me think of, again, we're just going to keep bringing up Banzai.
It had that vibe of Banzai.
Yeah, well, you said it in that episode where you were like, I miss when movies were allowed to be clumsy. And this movie is clumsy, and it fumbled kind of hard. But it feels okay. Because the budget was so low, I feel like it lowered the stakes significantly, where they were like, fuck it, we're going to get what takes we get. We're gonna get what we get.
There was a few shots where it was like, this is what made it?
Yeah, you're like, this was the take that we... Okay, sure.
There was the one in the bar where he's supposed to look down at somebody and then give them an expression and look back up and then give an expression to somebody else. But they forgot or just didn't slice in the person he was looking at.
They didn't put the
And so it's
shot.
like 30 seconds of him looking... The line's already been said. Yeah. And it's like this long moment of him looking down, giving a face... looking blank for a second and then looking at someone else giving a face, and I was like, someone missed something.
Like, hey guys, this might not have been correct.
It's funny though, like, it's funny. It definitely could have been like, the story could be streamlined.
The DNA is there because you've got the writer for Crawl, you've got the guy who did like Mac and Me, Tammy and the T-Rex, whatever. The composer also did a lot of other sci-fi and a lot of 80s. So his like big ones, he did Logan's Run.
Okay.
He did Buck Rogers.
Okay.
He did the score for that. He did... I'm just gonna stop saying Did You Ever See, because I know you don't. He also did Harry and the Hendersons.
I think I did see that.
And he did the Monster Squad. It's got such a good score.
Yeah.
And the practical effects are so good. And the costuming is so good. And the production design is so good. And it just sucks so bad that, like, the rest of it isn't good.
Yeah, the rest of it just kind of falls apart.
It's like, really honestly, sad.
I wonder if this movie would have been better without Jason.
Honestly, yeah. I feel like he's the worst character. They could have cut out Jason and Karina.
Yeah.
There's the bit they're getting chased by the Templars. The ship splits up, which, first of all, I fucking love a spaceship that can split into separate
that was cool.
vehicles. That was great. I want to follow the other guys, because all of a sudden we cut and they're at the bar and they like casually mention, they're like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like,
they like went to another battle. Like they ended up in another battle and that they lost, and then they went to a bar.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I want to see that.
I want to know more about what happened there.
I don't care about Jason at all.
I don't
like him. I don't care about
He's
him.
like honestly pretty creepy too, with like whatever that drug was that made people float.
God. That party scene.
Great.
So fucking good.
Believe
that
it.
weird ass like choreographed dance with like the weird masquerade like masks and the like shiny fabric.
Yeah.
And then like the people like floating in the like zero gravity. Like that scene is so cool. I want to know everything about that culture.
Yeah, that made me have a lot of questions. Also, it was like, this was one of the things that kind of got me when they were in the bar, because after you see that party, you're like, okay, there's definitely like a dress for upper class and a dress for lower class.
Yeah.
There's the dress for people who have water. Also, I was wondering if what they were being served was water or alcohol.
I think it must be both, or like...
Or maybe the only way to, I don't know. I was like, how valuable is water? And also, how far are we taking this? Like, are we saying alcohol is more valuable because it requires so much water to make?
Yeah.
Where's the logic ending? Is it just like, we don't have any drinking water, yikes? Or is it like...
Well, they have that bit that, again, they like drop really interesting world building and really interesting lore, but you like cruise past it like so casually, because when they're in the cage, they pass underneath like Mithra, which is the one planet that has water. Killjoy explains that it's fields, but they cover them up so that the water doesn't evaporate. It shows their wealth. They can just waste water on crops and fields and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, that's such a cool concept. I want to know about that.
Right?
Tell me more about that.
Give me more exposition, Killjoy. Please. Please, I crave it.
I want to know everything about Killjoy.
What was the deal with that little worm thing?
The space herpy.
Was that it?
That's it.
That made me so mad.
Literally.
That made me so mad.
They just had the space herpy.
And then they make the joke after he has sex with her, where he's like, well, I didn't think it was a big deal. After he's given her space herpes. Also, they did not need to give that thing a face. The fact that they gave it a face was awful. It started crawling out, and I was like, oh, that's creepy. And then it looks at the camera, and I was like, no, that should not have a face.
Jail. When we talk about this movie, we have to talk about the time warp battle. You didn't like it?
It made me mad.
Why did it make you mad?
Because why are they aging, but the battle is still going at the same pace? Why are the humans aging, but the battle of the robots is going at a normal rate? I just was like, this doesn't make any sense. Either they're in this one spot for 50 years fighting the same 3 robots, or it only affects bio people, but we know that the robots break down over time because we've seen that already.
Well, it's not that they're sitting there for 50 years. They're fighting for 30 minutes, but they age that fast.
So why aren't the robots...
I feel like it's affecting them on a cellular level.
Why?
Juliana.
It doesn't make sense to me that it only affects the people. If time itself is going faster, why is the battle going at a normal rate?
This is a universe where there's no water, but humans are alive and fine, and there's space herpes. I know.
This was the thing that broke me, I think.
I know that I am the resident shovel bringer, but it's not that deep in this specific case.
Oh my god, it just made me so mad for some reason. They start to run away from a robot, and then all of a sudden they're like 30 years older, and I'm like, why? Why is time passing differently for you and for the robot? Or on the ship in general? And then the person who's piloting it, she never fucking ages?
Well, we just don't see it. Her hair grows really long.
Her hair was already long.
You don't know that. It was even her little hat.
Anyway, it made me irritated.
That's insane.
Is that insane?
Yes.
Why?
I don't understand why this is what got you so upset.
Because if you're be consistent, if you're gonna be insane, be consistently insane.
This is what's weird about you. Is the time warp battle is literally everyone's favorite fucking part. And it's the thing that people who have seen the movie talk about first.
Fight a bitch about how that's not how time travel works. Who cares? I do.
Time travel isn't real.
It just doesn't make any sense.
We have to end the podcast. Because now I'm getting mad. I don't know if it's because it's so hot.
It could be.
But also now I'm getting mad.
Okay, so this is like the scene that saves the movie?
No, I'm not saying it saves the movie. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that as a viewer, entertainment-wise, this is the scene that everyone talks about because they're like, that was so great or cool, or they're like, yeah, I remember that scene the most.
What?
This is the scene we were just talking. None of the names matter. The first half of the movie, if I hadn't watched the movie yesterday, I couldn't have fucking tell you anything about it. But anytime I think of this movie, I think of the time warp battle. I feel like that's the most impactful. Stop looking at me like that.
I have never felt so wrong in my life.
You are incorrect.
It's good that I didn't know anything about this movie going in.
For once, I'm the one that's right on this podcast.
I mean,
for once.
you're often right. I mean, I believe it. I believe that I'm wrong, and I know I take things too seriously.
It's okay. So art is subjective, and we can recognize that not everyone sees art the same way, and we all bring our own context into whatever art we are viewing. But you are incorrect.
That's just insane.
You are incorrect and wrong.
That just feels insane to me that people accepted that.
It's so, well, and it's the best
I get it because it's absolutely mental.
Well, and the best part is none of it fucking matters. They make it to the other side of the time warp. Princess
and then
Karina,
the movie ends.
Yeah.
That was the part where I was like, we're not gonna debrief like any of that.
We had $8 million to make this movie. We couldn't keep going.
Oh my god. I also didn't get that it was her dad on Earth.
So there was, the ending did get cut.
That makes a lot of sense.
So according to the director, the original ending had a sequence of them flying over modern day Miami Beach.
That fits for this movie.
Yeah, well, apparently a studio executive fully cut the sequence without anybody's knowledge right before it was sent out to distribution. So the director had no idea that his ending had been fucking cut until, like, it came out. And he was like, what the actual fuck?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So, like, there's that. But no, okay, the time warp battle is crazy.
Yes.
And it's so stupid and it doesn't make sense and it's so fun. I mean, like, I feel like that's where the editing and the, like, prosthetics really shine.
Well,
because it's where they have, I love the editing where, like, it will just, like, randomly go into fast forward, like, it speeds up.
Yeah.
To show the time, and then, like, all of their hair grows out, and, like,
and it takes them 1 million
die.
years to get from one side of the ship to the other.
They have the whole thing where Princess Karina is pregnant.
Yeah.
She has the baby, and he's like, that's not mine. He's so shitty about it. And then by the time they get to the other side of the ship for her to be like, this is your son, she's basically dead. Her wig gets caught. They're old people. And then you have Robert Urich playing the son. It's my favorite bit. He, like, swings in to save the day, and he's just like, here I come, Dad! Yes. So stupid. This movie is dumb.
It's dumb.
This movie is dumb and bad, and it's so good.
I can't believe everyone loves that scene. So oh my god, it hit a point during that sequence where I was like, this is going on a long time. I bet none of this is gonna matter at the end.
Yeah, and then it doesn't, and then you have fucking...
Oh my god.
Princess Karina give, like, the most wooden, stupid, like, exposition where she's like, we did it. We got through the time warp. And now we're on the other side. And that's it.
And well, you have, like, and then the other people, they were off because they entered at 0.01 off from the course or whatever BS. And they're lost in time forever.
Here's Earth. Bye.
It's crazy.
I love the font for the title cards and stuff,
oh,
though,
yeah.
because it feels all, like, medieval, like...
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even talk about, there's a whole fucking Mad Max.
There's the Mad Max
sequence.
thing. There's the weird frog lady who it drove me mad that they didn't, like, at least paint her chest a little bit.
Yeah, she's just fully...
Like, clearly wearing a mask and gloves.
Yeah.
And I was like, just paint her a little bit green on her neck and I'll believe it more.
I can't even do the noise
She, like, talks in.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
But that's where you meet... His name is something stupid. It's like Lanky Nibs.
Oh.
But he's like, Jason has worked with him, but he's the one who explains the time warp, where he's like, I aged 20 years in 20 seconds.
Well, that and, like, the planet with all the unicorns.
I know. Okay, so, the guy who plays the, like, severed head
That guy was great. I actually really liked him.
So, he's great. Actor is Bruce Valanche. He's, like, a writer and an actor. He's best known for the 80s revival of Hollywood Squares.
Oh.
But he is a head writer for the Oscars, and that's, like, his biggest credit, is he's, like, head writer for the Oscars. And he's just, like, he's a funny fat guy, but he's, like, one of the 80s funny fat guys, you know, where you're like, yes! I was reading his Wikipedia page, and I screamed. I read this line and had to get up and go into the living room to read it to my mom, because it's so funny. It's from his, like, Wikipedia biography in the, like, early life section. So his mom also was like an actress, or wanted to be an actress or something with showbiz. So Valanche's mother helped launch her son's show business career by getting him signed on with Lane Bryant's Charming Chub division as a chubby child model.
Oh my god, what?
Insane! What a fucking sentence! Charming chub line.
Oh my god, no!
Chubby child model.
Okay, that would mess up any child.
Fuck, you are so bad. So fucking funny to me.
No.
But yeah, no, his whole planet, it's funny. The Red Letter Media video it's worth a watch. It's like 30 minutes.
Okay.
They're talking about, like, most of it is shot in those warehouses and stuff. He's like, yeah, the planet, they, like, when they had scenes, they had these really interesting scenes, and then sometimes they had a planet that they just didn't have a stage for. A lot of the times when you're on sound stages, you set up, like, frames, and you have, like, the screens to, like, so you don't get background stuff. You can see the wrinkles in the corner of one of the screens. As just fog machine.
Yeah.
And then, like, the Amazon warriors on the fucking...
What was that about?
Unicorns. I don't know, man. But then you have Bruce Valanche as Wendon, who's just fagging it up in his weird little palace.
Yeah. The pleasure that he's getting from these women is the gossip. Like,
oh, yeah. It's camp. It's camp. He's, like, got his little limp wrists. He's on liquid.
Yeah.
She hands him the glass of water.
But then he's like, I only have this place and this planet and this protection because of your father? Mm-hmm. And then we find out that her father's a robot?
No.
I didn't get it.
So her father is still missing, but they had a robot that was, like, designed to be her father.
Oh.
Or as, like, a decoy or something.
Okay, so I couldn't tell if her dad...
Because that's why she freaks out, because she's like, that's not my dad.
Yeah, and then it cuts to them doing something with a computer, and I was like, oh, did they take the robot to see if there was any encrypted messages on it?
I think they did.
Because in my brain, I was like, oh, maybe he was, like, hiding out here, but then he felt like he had to stay here for what's-his-face. So then he made a replica of... Or no, he was a prisoner. Mm-hmm. And so he made a replica of himself to sneak out?
I don't know.
I couldn't fake... I didn't
know.
like,
don't think too hard about it. Don't think too hard about it.
So many questions
You're
about...
thinking too hard.
Why? What is the dad doing? How did he get back to
her weird thing with the rings, where she's like, oh, my father's ring, and it spins, and that's like the hologram
and
thing.
And it leaves a message. I did love that Wendon was like, oh, I'm useful again.
He's like, oh, now they put him on the robot, and he's like, I'm helping.
Yeah. Oh my god. I love that he just wanted to be useful.
And you do see that he's only there for the gossip, because he's the one who, like, finds Jason is like, the princess is... Well, she's not well.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm obsessed with the acting choices that happen with some of these characters. Like, Ron Perlman as Zeno... the bit where he's making dinner,
That's
which is also crazy, where they've got, like, the robot hands, like, sticking out of the wall, helping him make dinner.
Okay, another thing. We already have that. It's called a mixing bowl. It's called a stand mixer. Most people have it in their kitchen.
Not in space, baby!
If you can make a ship like that has a sex chamber, you can put a stand mixer
the environmental
on
chamber
your kitchen counter.
Right. And I love that she calls it's still like a cassette, the like weird little crystal.
That was kind of cool.
But
though.
no, I'm obsessed with his acting choice, Ron Perlman's acting choices in that bit where he's like cooking, but then he's like just so has like effeminate and like has a little lisp where he's like, dinner is served, it's my mother's recipe, and then like you see when the herpy bursts out of the like chicken, you see him in the background like crying about how his dinner has been ruined. A lot of these movies that I'm picking, I picked because I wanted to watch them and actually think about them.
Oh, okay.
Instead of just like, because a lot of my picks are popcorn movies where you just kind of watch it and you're like, whatever. Something I liked about watching this and actually knowing that I had to, like, think about it and talk about it is I noticed myself paying a lot more attention to actors in the background. And that's why I feel like Killjoy and Zeno and Maida are, like...
They're scene stealers.
They're scene stealers, and it's because they're still, even when they know they're not in focus on the camera, they're still... acting.
Yeah.
And you don't get that with a lot of the other actors. This is me bringing my opinion in, but I think it's because they're TV actors. And TV movies are very much like tight, 2 shots. They think they stop existing if they're not the one talking. And so you see that with like Killjoy and like Zeno and them where like they're in the back and they're still acting. Like they're still in character.
I did like love the dinner scene though where you see them all like just hanging out and talking to each other. I love that roller derby is the sport of the future.
Kaitlyn's fun fact corner. So there's a lot of like references to other sci-fi movies. So what they're watching on the TV are actually scenes from a movie called Rollerball.
Oh.
It's like a post-apocalyptic movie where like the sport is basically roller derby but with like more bullshit rules with like
higher stakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a mix of like roller derby and like rugby almost. It's got the guy who plays the big brother in Lost Boys in it, which is why I watched it and was like, this movie's wild. So there's so many weird little references that get folded in. The sound effects that the motorcycles make are the same ones used for the light cycles in Tron.
Oh.
That's why the motorcycles sound so weird. You're like, that's not what motorcycles sound like. Because they're not. It's Tron. When they're in the slave cages, in the background, you can see vehicles from Logan's Run. The pimp's car and then Templar main guy's car are also from fucking Logan's Run. Then I've got, this one I thought was stupid. But they're like, Jason is named after the title protagonist from Jason and the Argonauts. Because he's on a quest to search for the Golden Fleece, which is like a myth. I was like, that's a fucking stretch. Shut up, IMDb.
Yeah, you're like, that's a fan theory.
Yeah. This one, I don't think it's true. I'm very dubious about this one, but I kind of hope it's true. Roscoe uses the term shiny to mean like something's great, which is used in Firefly.
Oh!
I don't know. I'm dubious about it, but I really hope it's true because I love that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And it feels Joss Whedon-y to like this movie. And
yes, and to pull that little thing from it.
That's everything. Like, it was hard to find stuff about this movie.
It's an older movie.
I liked it.
I liked it. I think I would have liked it much more if I wasn't watching it with a critical eye. Like, truly, like I said, if I was just watching it in the backyard with some friends, I think I would have fallen much more in love with it versus trying to be like, picking out themes that just fair. Like don't fucking exist.
That's fair.
You know?
I know, I wanted to, because with Hamlet too, I came in so hard with the like, I'm gonna find meaning and analyze the shit out of this, and then with this one I'm like, it's hard. This movie's just kind of dumb.
And Hamlet 2 isn't?
Hamlet 2 is evocative.
Art has different meanings for everyone.
Art is subjective.
Art is subjective.
Fuck off. There's so much in this movie that's like, there's like nuggets. And I think that's why I keep going back to watch it, is there's like, you can see the ghosts of the script that got rewritten. You can see the ghosts of what could have been if they had the budget and if they had just let the original script ride.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was some really cool little nuggets that I feel like now they're just going to be a fun thought experiment that lives in my brain.
Yeah.
But not necessarily, like, anything profound. It's not a profound film by any stretch of the imagination.
This is what fan fiction is for, and this is what, like, using your own brain is for, is I feel like we could just go in and write Roscoe and
story,
Killjoy and, like...
Yeah, we could write about the battle. Like, yeah, I could see this having, like, maybe some pretty cool fan fiction. No, I'm not gonna step in there.
No, don't do it.
I think it'd be...
Don't do it.
Real nasty.
Yeah, this is one where you, like, see it and you're like, we're gonna watch the film and we're gonna end it there.
Yeah.
Do you have any final quotes that you enjoy?
The only quote I wrote down was, Templars, may they all end in thirst.
That is pretty good.
I thought that was a fun, like, diss.
The revolutionary guy where he's all, power to the people, in his fucking beret and neckerchief.
Yep.
I said the two that I love. They don't castrate clergy. I love the one about the toes. I don't know why. That's my favorite fucking one. They chop off his toes. He's like, I just stole those.
It's his first zinger.
Yeah.
And then it's his first and, like, only clear zinger. Yeah. After that, he says zingers, and you have to be like, what is he talking? Oh, that, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
he just says shit, and you're like, I guess that's supposed to be funny.
And some of it sounds 80-yard in, too.
Yeah. Oh,
where
truly.
it's just, like, over a scene, you hear his voice out of nowhere, and you're like, what? Okay.
Hello?
I guess.
Favorite fucking one is just, here I come, Dad. So dumb.
I did love I did like Jason's style a lot.
Ties his pirate shirts and his, like, kind of slutty pirate costume.
Yeah, and his leggings with the big boots.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, me in the 2000s, baby.
Yeah,
that's
baby.
what I look like. Leggings, chunky boots, and a flowy top.
Are you a pirate?
I've always liked the aesthetic. I mean, I'm not gonna admit anything on air.
Are you a pirate, Kaitlyn? I was not a pirate kid.
You weren't a pirate kid?
No.
Well, you're not bi, so that tracks.
Yeah.
As a pirate kid and a vampire kid, like hardcore.
I was a zombie kid. And a mermaid kid.
I didn't have a mermaid phase.
I fucking, yeah.
I had a wanting to fly phase. I had a maximum ride phase.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your rating?
So my final rating is like 2.5-ish, 3. Like,
I was gonna
very
say
low 3, mostly 2.5.
Yeah.
2.75.
That's kind of where I landed. I was gonna say 3.
I feel like 3 is too strong,
but
that's coming from me.
Yeah, so I might land closer to a 2. I mean, it was a fun, weird watch.
Yeah.
It was a fun, weird watch. It is one of those movies that's, like, so odd that you just want to show your friends to be like, look at this. Look how fucking weird this is.
I need someone else to experience this.
I need someone else to experience this fever dream of a movie. Like, check this out. Like, that's how this feels to me.
Yeah. I agree that this is definitely, like, a backyard movie or just, like, a hangout with, like, 3 to 5 of your friends.
With beers.
Yeah.
Some sort of substance and watch this.
It's a fun, like...
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's a weird, fun watch.
So, 2.5 from both of us for this one?
Yeah. I think that's where we're going to land.
That sounds about right. But yeah, so that's our episode on Ice Pirates. Next week is Idiocracy.
I haven't seen it.
Really?
No.
I haven't seen it in probably 15 years.
I don't know. I'll be interested to see it. I know about it. I know a lot about it. I've just never sat down and watched it.
Okay.
Oh, I have to do research on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
You have to do research and you have to watch it. And you, dear listeners, go watch it. Or don't. I'm not your dad.
Follow us on Instagram at
_but listen.
And please rate us on wherever you're listening.
Yeah. Get in the comments. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.